Hello, family. Today I just want to share a few thoughts on the Botswana Constitution and my thoughts on the current bill which is being debated by the honorable members of parliament in our parliament. As an officer of the court and as a lawyer for the past more than 35 years, obviously anything to do with the constitution, it excites me as a legal scholar. And having argued a few cases which dealt with people's rights, whether it was constitutional or administrative law, like the Kamanakau case, which I was involved in. It led to the amendment of the Bohosi Act. The Roy Sisana case, CKGR, many of you would remember. Anything that deals with the rights of the people, changing the rights of the people fundamentally, excites me. My thoughts are a little bit jumbled up. They are not in any order. I will start with where this process started. I think, in all fairness to the current government or dispensation, the current constitution, we inherited it at independence. So one can call it the constitution of transition. And I think, in all fairness, having lived under the dispensation of all our 5 presidents, Seretse, I was still young, Sekitumile Joni Masire, I was a grown-up, I was a magistrate, Dr. Festus Mohae, I was a mature lawyer, Lieutenant General Dr. Ian Khamas, I was a very senior lawyer, and Dr. Mokweitsi Eric Abutsimasisi. So I've lived under all the 5 presidents. And on the positive, all of them had an opportunity to initiate the review of the Constitution. Because Botswana, I've always said, this Constitution was imposed on us at independence. So I think, in fairness to the current government, it should be commended for starting the process. Of course, as academics, as lawyers, we can differ on whether the process was done to the letter, whether it was done democratically, whether the commissioners were representative of all the segments and stakeholders of our society. But I think that is a topic for another day. For now, we need to concentrate on the current process. And we should ask ourselves some leading questions. Does it serve the purpose? In answering that question, I think we should look at the don'ts. What a constitutional review should not do. And then we'll get to what it should do. 1, in my esteemed view, a constitutional review should not be politicized. It should be neutral, because at the end of the day, we are looking at nation building. And a nation composes of people from different political spaces, so we should shy away from politicizing a constitutional review. Number 2, a constitutional review should not be aimed at punishing our political opponents. In other words, we shouldn't find anything in the Constitution or intended review which, on proper assessment, one would think, this looks like so-and-so is being punished. Number 3, political review should not be seen to be regressive or reversing. It should be progressive. All nations, democracies, developed countries are moving forward. So we cannot be seen to be, in our constitutional review, reversing. A constitutional review should not be seen to be targeted at a certain segment of the society, whether it's Mahosi, whether it's tribes or certain people that you may differ with. It should be aimed at nation building. On a lighter note, a constitutional review should not be motivated by political boredom, where when you look at the process you say, is this process serving the country, or is just one of those ticking the box because politically you are bored? On a lighter note. Now, in assessing the impact of the current bill, especially the sections which it is intended to amend or review, one should look at three important documents. One, the main document is the one that has the report of the Constitutional Review Presidential Commission, which went to all the districts. They may not have covered every village, but they covered all the districts. And for that, we should commend them. It is a first in the history of Botswana. And they spend their time at Kota meetings asking Botswana, what do you think we should put in the new constitution, the current constitution? What are its strengths and weaknesses? And Botswana, both learned and not learned, they shared their views. Obviously, some of the views may not have belonged to the space of constitutional review, but nevertheless, the commissioners were patient and they took their time and listened, and they compiled a very comprehensive report. In assessing the impact of the current review, one should look at that report and say, when you aggregate the weighty concerns of Botswana, which belong to the constitutional review space, are they contained in the current bill? That is a good starting point. If you see things which were not said by the majority of Botswana or constituencies of Botswana being sneaked into the review, then one would be a little bit uncomfortable, because a constitution is a constitution of the people, not of a particular segment or political party. Number two is the government white paper. After receiving that review, what Botswana said, what was the recommendation of what the government thought were the priority areas. And then three, the current bill. Does it represent the views of most of the constituencies that constitute a society or a country or a nation? Obviously, I'll be a little bit biased. As a lawyer, I will be more biased on the side of what a student of constitutional law would consider as a progressive constitution, having been a lawyer for more than 35 years. But I'll also be biased on the religious side. I believe that Botswana is primarily a very religious country, with some say 85%, some say 90% of people who uphold religious values. When you attend funeral, people pray at funerals, they sing hymns. When you attend weddings, people pray, they sing hymns. Even at Kota meetings, even in parliament. So it clearly shows that Botswana is highly religious. So there's no way you can leave the religious values of Botswana when you change the constitution. Anything that seems to depart from their religious values would be frowned upon. Thirdly, Botswana is highly cultural. Botswana respect their culture, and the institutions that guard that culture, like Bohosi, they are revered and respected. So anything that seeks to shake these institutions in the manner that we have known them is likely to cause people to be concerned. Am I happy with the contents of the current bill? I think what should be the real question is, are Botswana happy? Professor Kidingake, an eminent judge of this country, who is now outside the country, has shared his views. And those of you who listen to him, it's clear as an academician that he has shared some concerns. Professor Bujusi Utlukile, my former lecturer and former head of the law department and former vice chancellor of the UB, did his lecture. He also showed his concerns. Bukongo showed their concern. The no-nonsense Evangelical Fellowship of Botswana, EFB, they've showed their concern. They've marched. Apostolic Faith Mission, one of the biggest churches in this country, have showed their concern. So even if I don't share my concerns, clearly this shows us that some Botswana are saying, hey, let's talk about it. The last two questions: is it really urgent that we do it now? From the views of these 5 constituencies, it would appear that the general consensus is that maybe we are hurrying a process which is too important. So without sharing my views, I would go with these constituencies and say, let's take our time, because we are building history. And then finally, what are the areas where people are thinking there must be a need for further interrogation? The appointment of 10 specially elected members of parliament, people are concerned, especially in the current budgetary constraints. The appointment of 10 mahosi by one individual, people are showing concern. And other areas where people feel, let's not use the constitution to penalize our opponents or create mileage for one organization. As a lawyer with 35 years experience, what is my prediction? My prediction is that if we hurry against the views of many Botswana, we will not be doing justice to the constitution. Why? That comes to my final parting thoughts on the constitution. The reason I can best as an artist and creative explain it in song. Molao moteo ga se botshamikelo. Molao moteo ga se botshamikelo. Ga se dinyana, ga se diketo, ga se botshamikelo. Molao moteo ga se botshamikelo. Molao moteo ga se botshamikelo. Ga se dinyana, ga se diketo, ga se botshamikelo. Love you, family. God bless you.